works. I can't hear
Yeah.
I can't watch myself right now. So because if I do and I turn my TV on, it's gonna echo. Again, what's good, Wild Boy? How you doing?
Part two, brother. I'm doing
Uh,
good. How are you?
After that, I'm just hoping no more difficult technical stuff. Um, just normal stuff every day kind of thing. I'm gonna put out there that we are live. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Shit happens.
Oh God, gotta love Sean. He just posted something with him and Denise. Anyways, so it's been an interesting week, hasn't it, for you?
In wrestling or just in general?
And let's start with the in general stuff, and we'll work our way to what we do best.
Man, just me. I just been working on my house, bro. I was painting my dining room, getting my dining room look a manlier touch. Um, Growing up in a house with my grandma and my mom, it had that feminine touch for so many years, so I had to make it a little manly, and it's looking pretty good in here. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's one of those things where it's like it gives you something to do, keeps you confident. Now back to what I was
Yes.
saying before all the insanity that happened. um, so the feedback from when we did the audio show was tremendous. Um, the outpouring of people messaging me, I don't know about you, said they
Mhm.
wanted us to keep talking about our lives, the family, the wrestling, and stuff like that. And if you're comfortable with that, we'll talk about that a little bit towards the tail end of everything.
Of course.
Tim, you could hear me, right? This time, hopefully, this is fixed. But it made an impact with a lot of people, and that's the whole purpose of that.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll see how things go from there. What did you think? And we'll start from SmackDown, work our way over, since you're a WWE kid. Um,
Yes.
what did you think of SmackDown going into the weekend?
I'm just intrigued at Roman and Jay, bro. Like, and now there's reports coming out that they might be a heel faction. Like, that's got me excited, man.
It's a little different because it's it's one of those things like Roman forces them to do something they don't want to. It
Hmm.
sounds familiar with Raw this week, but yeah, that's it. Pretty much, if that's the case, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to see what Roman does with Jay at Hell in the Cell. I'm
Hmm.
more interested to see what the draft brings about, and we'll talk about the draft in a little bit. But what are you thinking about SmackDown? Does it need to get better or keep as is and keep growing new talent as it's going as of right now?
SmackDown for sure needs tag teams and a bigger women's division. The women's division is slacking very bad. Cause if Sasha goes to Raw, who's Bailey gonna feud with? Cause I think Naomi's out. She's already defeated Nikki. Or does Nikki get a rematch? See, like I don't know.
Well, after seeing
They
that documentary with Drew, I mean, all that hard work she does. They even talk about Drew's impact in Scotland is just immense. But yeah, you're right. They have not a lot of women just to keep that balance. So
yeah.
it it's gonna be fun to see what they do because with the way SmackDown is, they're more heel eccentric and it needs to
Hmm.
level out at some point. And I'm hoping this draft does that. We don't know who's coming up from NXT. We don't know the
Right.
possibilities of what's going to happen, but I'm damn well interested to see how this is going out. Now, this is going to be a good announcement as any. There will be a live draft on this channel, by the way, DK.
Really.
Yes, tomorrow around in the afternoon, probably before Fightful's listing your boy, probably a few hours before that. Rob Wilkins and I will break down and do our own mock draft, WWE style.
Ooh, nice.
And that's going to be interesting because, you got two guys wanting to win and see who's better. So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's your boy Rob right there. He He's a very good, funny guy. Um, you know, hey Ray, what's up? Um, I'm just hoping with this draft, Raw gets better,
Hmm.
but SmackDown doesn't lose it because they took NXT out of the situation. Now, they could do what they usually do is have NXT brought up and stuff, but with SmackDown this past week, it has people wondering why are they doing certain matches. So, what's the one match you out of that from SmackDown last week that had your that they announced that had your head scratching? Like, why now?
Bailey and Sasha
Yeah,
at
you're
Hell in a Cell. Like, come on, man. They're rushing it. Sasha just automatically took her neck brace off and she's healed and she's ready to face Bailey in a Hell in a Cell match. Come on,
yeah.
slow it down.
It definitely doesn't make any sense because eventually what will happen is that they'll draft one to the other and just be like, now Sasha has to wait. And that's what a lot of people want. Is that something you would consider wanting, or would you want something to build up on SmackDown until, let's say, quote unquote, they trade somebody big and they need to give Raw somebody?
I want Sasha to go to Raw. Let this feud simmer a little bit. They can still throw shots at each other, but let it simmer down. Sasha wins Royal Rumble and faces Bailey, and boom, both of them at WrestleMania. That's what they want, and that's what I want. Definitely want.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do,
Mhm.
and I hopefully it does get better. And
Praying.
I'm just wanting more out of this now. Hopefully everything goes great with these guys, and hopefully they do like one hell of a match.
Mhm.
But we don't know what's going to happen after the draft, and that's what's looming our head. So I think they're rushing the match for Friday a little bit. What since Friday was a really good show, did you like how the Intercontinental title was? How which like match that made you wide open? Because a lot of the stuff on SmackDown was to push next Friday more so, and I felt like SmackDown took a step back. But the only match that made any sense was Hardy and Sammy. Did that impact your view on the show in general? Because there's something missing with SmackDown, and now Raw's trying to elevate, but SmackDown it always fluctuates. But why? What do you think needs to get better on that besides the women's division in general?
You think SmackDown needs more star power?
I
Maybe
think
like Gargano and Candice?
I think what they need more so is just balance. And like Sean usually would say is that you have to make me, interested. You or something along the lines of that where it's like you need me to like want to be invested. And right now, the only thing that makes me invested on SmackDown right now is Roman's feud with Jay because of the story, and then Sasha and Bailey. What else is there to get me invested? Cesaro and Nakamura. Well, there's not much on the tag team meet right there, and on top of that, you don't have a lot of other ideas of what could happen. I mean, if you shift Bianca over this way, then that makes a lot of things interesting. But who are you going to bring up from NXT to balance it out when they lose that out? Everything I think in life has to have a certain balance to it. And
Mhm.
right now, they're too heel centric, and then Raw is too babyface eccentric. It's like if they have to shove both shows and make it 3 hours into one massive show, I mean, it would make more sense.
I got a feeling Gargano and Candice are going to SmackDown. He's done everything in NXT. I don't think there's nothing left for him to do. I would love to see Candice get the women's title, but if they go to SmackDown, that'd give that IC, you know, um, more depth for Sammy, because I would love to see Sammy versus Gargano at some point. Candice needs to feud with Bailey just to give Bailey some different competition. She's been facing the same people for months now.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense to keep regurgitating and stuff like that. I mean, the talent's there. I mean, out of all the ones Bailey hasn't faced, and I'm not talking about because she has faced her, is this version of Alexa. Not happy, cutie, bubbly Alexa. I'm talking about downright despicable, evil Alexa. It's Mr. Warren Hayes. What's up?
Mr.
Um,
Warren, what up, brother?
it. I dragged him out of Twitter purgatory, by the way. We were just talking about that a second ago. That he's now back on Twitter, which is great. Um, but it's one of those things. It's like, come on, you have to do something to better the whole division. And if they put Candice in it, will it better it? Maybe a little. Maybe like the whole Lacey Becky thing a year and a half ago or so. But it's not gonna make you want more. You need something to make it pop. And if they put Sasha over there and move, Bianca to SmackDown, that will give it. But what else do you have? I mean, this version of Alexa does that right now, I think, because it's got that question, what has happened to her psychologically as a character? It's really good.
Mhm.
Sean's in the chat.
But if you have Alexa face Bailey, I think it's too early to have Alexa in this like current mood lose. Like one that like deflate her a little bit.
It could, and it possibly would. But if you do it just right, where Sasha intervenes a little bit, kind of like how Alexa did it with KO, where like he's everywhere, he feels it. And there goes my Alexa. uh, can you hear that?
No.
It literally saying playing songs from Alexa Bliss.
Oh,
Um,
I see Auntie in the chat. Shout out, hi Auntie. Got the family in here, baby.
yeah. Keep everybody. This is great because literally me and him have talked about this stuff, and now he has the bug. So encourage him to keep doing it. But
My definitely she's in my corner, bro, and we talk about it a lot. And yeah, I love doing this, brother. Thank you for giving me the bug.
yeah. But if they did pull the trigger on it, they could pull it like a Banks kind of music pop, and then all of a sudden, everything changes. But it, but SmackDown overall was a good show, and I think the Hardy match was really good. But Takeover was god honestly amazing.
From start to finish, man, I can't wait to just sit and watch it again because I was busy painting during the main event, but I cannot wait to watch NXT again. Holy shit. Triple H, please take over Raw and SmackDown if you're going to be this creative.
It's gonna be fun
Please.
because I think the match of the night was Io and Candice to begin with, and everybody's gonna be like, well, they're gonna nitpick different matches and stuff. Honestly, Balor and O'Reilly was amazing too, but I think
My
just
God.
for a
Yes.
standpoint that
Hmm.
if it is Candice's last match in NXT, they went out it with a bang.
Hell yeah.
What did you think about the Capitol Center though, the way they shaped everything up?
Impressive. It, but at certain points, I thought I was watching a cage match. At certain angles, it looked like every match was a cage match.
It felt like almost like you were watching Hell in the Cell, but the crowd was in the
Yeah,
cell.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
like having the Thunderdome feel. I liked it.
well, I mean, for me, it's one of those things I absolutely appreciate, just because they're trying to do something different,
Mm.
especially if there's conversation of them having audiences in there. It's one of those things. Um, I am very, very excited for Halloween Havoc, though. I know it's a WCW property. Growing in the '90s, though, that was one of the ones that Halloween you knew that was going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Um, it if you have to see who would be going from NXT to the main roster after this Takeover 31, who do you see?
Well, my number one pick is Gargano and Candice, definitely. Because they just added more depth to their women's division with Tony and Ember Moon. Thank God Ember Moon is like ready to wrestle again. I missed her and I missed Tony. So adding those two to the women's roster is a good benefit moving forward. So I think maybe somebody else in the women's division could go to SmackDown maybe.
I literally popped when I saw Tony Storm and Ember. I literally went haywire. Now,
Mm?
do you pay attention to Impact a little bit?
Yes, I do.
Between NXT now, this is going to be a two-part question.
Mm?
Between NXT before Takeover, to compare them to Impact, the women's division, and to now, as it's constituted now, with NXT how it is now going into tomorrow night's show, compared to Impact, do you consider Impact was well above before Takeover, or do you still consider them like still above the best women's division, all wrestling, and NXT is literally like a hair away from it?
Listen, when you add Ember Moon, a former NXT champion, and Tony Storm, a former UK women's champion, that's big death right there. So I think NXT slightly edges out Impact after what we've just seen this week. But I love Impact women's wrestlers. Jordan Grace, Deanna, uh, Tennille, like they got a very stacked roster, but so does NXT, man. It's neck and neck.
I really think that Impact is still, and I had Anakin on for the podcast for the audio that's coming out on Saturday, and we talked about it, and I said that I still think they're they're one tier on each. Now I think Impact's 1A, and obviously NXT is 1A, and then everybody else falls to the wayside for the most part, which is sad because WWE overall has a great, roster of women's talent. But if you have to focus per brand, that would make more sense. And I'd like to have the chat put in what they think, and if Sean's in there, that'd be great too, because obviously Sean will steer and Warren will steer us to the right direction if we veer off the path. To quote a line from somebody I know, they're like, Moses and God. One has to take you to Jerusalem, and the other one has to give you faith and believe in it.
Yeah.
I know I went religious and not supposed to. Anyways, but it's one of those things where I'm looking forward to seeing what NXT does. Now, granted, they are stacked in the UK version, the NXT UK. They have so much up and coming talent that it'd be very, very close to compare NXT to NXT UK. Different style of wrestling, different ways of doing it, but it would be extremely interesting to see, Impact sometime down the line, and if they came into agreement, that they go right there against NXT. Do you think anything like that, like a cross promotion thing, would ever happen between Impact and NXT if later down the line, if Hunter approached it? And do you think, the addition with more NXT UK wrestlers coming over kind of is bolstering up NXT even more, even though they're on a primetime night slot every Wednesday?
I think that'd be cool one day if Impact and NXT could coexist. I don't see it, but more NXT UK talent coming over, that's a huge possibility because we're supposed to get Walter versus Finn Balor, and I still want to see that match. That
Yeah,
could be like a Survivor Series champion versus champion. That would be very good.
that would be amazing. It would be something different to do.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, NXT Takeover is great. So, what do you think of them now still taking like In Your House, and now they're
Great
doing
American
Halloween?
Bash.
Yeah, and Halloween Havoc, and they're using the old WWF slash WWE, WCW names as pay per views. I never got a chance to ask you this on the other show, so I figured why not.
It's smart. It's smart. In your house was perfect. They had the house, and
I remember
like
Sean saying that somebody should be fighting in that house. They should get a house and fight in it.
Gargano did have the key. But I love it, man, and I'm excited to see if they're going to have the giant pumpkin and the little goblins and monsters on the entryway. And Triple H, he's smart, man. He knows what he's doing. I hope people tune in. I hope people watch. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be fun because it's a little different, and I'm hoping
It's a
to.
throwback.
Thanks. Hey, please. I'm hoping to have a roundtable discussion after that week, and I have one person I'm gonna ask in mind, and I don't know if he's watching, but hopefully he is because he already said he anytime I want to ask him to do something, he'll agree to it, which is great.
Is it Jeremy?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Dude, like I'm dying to be on the show with him. That's my other brother, bro. Yeah, I hope I'm a part of that.
Hey, Jeremy, if you're listening, we have a second for the roundtable. DK's back on the next roundtable.
Fuck yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Me and Jeremy got a lot to talk about. We could talk about Big Brother and yeah, that's my man. Yeah, make that happen.
Can you imagine, right? And I want to say this straight out, and I'm looking straight at my camera. I want to thank Sean for last week. I want to thank you, Hannah, Rob for the roundtable. I mean, you guys, I really appreciate everything you guys did for last week. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but other than just like outside of world in general, but you guys literally made me doing this a lot more fun for the entire week. And honestly, and I'll be very frank about it, it was an honor to be a part of the show for Fightful, and that was
Mhm.
the first one ever. And doing a prediction show, I realized I was completely wrong on some of it. But it was fun, and I appreciate that. And I wanted to say thank you again, but on camera. Um, you and me will go back towards our show that we did on the first one for the podcast side of it. Go on
Mhm.
all platforms and stuff. But dude, if you're down, that's fine. And I told you anytime. Um,
Bro, but you know what? You got to thank yourself because you gave me that opportunity and you still have that door open for me. And to do the round table and to be here tonight, I got to thank you, bro. So you got to give some thanks to yourself.
yeah. Well, we could do that at the end because there's a lot of meat on this bone we have to cover, and we got all the time in the world.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
by the way, Raw was really good. They kicked off with Randy. There was a lot of good quotes Randy had. It said basically, you know, one of the lines he said was, "In the moment, I felt nothing. I was surrounded in darkness," and a lot of people could feel that way, relate to that line in different ways.
Mhm.
He said Drew doesn't deserve the title. He stated that was obligated to reintroduce the Legend Killer to the Legends. This promo was really amazing at the start of Raw, but there was one hint that I don't think anybody picked up, and I'm very shocked that nobody did this. And I looked at the feed and I didn't realize this, and I don't know if you did. Did you realize that Randy said something and he quoted this? And I rewatched Raw so I could talk to you about this, by the way.
Uh huh.
He said to Christian, "Tell Edge I said hi for me." Now, what do you think of that line? Now, I know it's "Tell Edge I said hi for me." It might be me paraphrasing because it might be rearranged. But what did you think of that line? And do you really think it's heading towards something huge down the line?
Orton and Edge is definitely not finished. Absolutely not finished. And that was Orton sending a message to Edge through Christian, like, "Hey, I took you out again. I took Edge out, and I'll do it again." So yeah, that feud's definitely far from over.
Yeah, and I think that's a hint that they're going to be doing what they did with Sasha and Bailey. They're going to intricately put little by little things hinting for Edge to come back. That promo right after when Edge did, and I rewatched it again, it's chilling. And him sitting on there and saying, "You woke up the rated R superstar," and now he mentioned Orton will mention it here and there, and then he mentions that line here. It looks like they're going the same route as Roman and on SmackDown for Randy, where he's going to end up meeting, we presume, in theory, I'm going to say this, in theory, The Rock and obviously Edge at WrestleMania. And if it's still in Hollywood at this point, we don't know with COVID. Um, but that was a really damn good promo. And the other thing I was going to say is that Mandy and Dana are doing really good as a tag team, and even it's been a couple of weeks.
Ooh, that okay. I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Why put Mandy back in another tag team instead of letting her shine solo?
because they probably still think she needs more seasoning, like a good steak.
So you
See
put
the
her with
segue with
Dana
Otis?
Brooke. Yeah. But Dana Brooke ain't no better. She improved, but when was the last time we seen her on TV wrestle?
Probably like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, in a major setting would probably be the Money in the Bank briefcase thing, but in a major setting was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago that I could remember. I could be wrong. I usually am. But I mean, having Mandy, who they're highly touting on Raw, is a possibility where they need to do something. But I think Mandy being shotgunned over to Raw when they're really lacking for faces on SmackDown is very, very intricately
It,
announcing that they are really short-handed.
it made no sense to put Mandy on Raw. It made zero sense when that women's division is already small and like I like Mandy. I'm not knocking her at all, but I want to see her by herself and strive and like her running knee. God, it's
That is
brutal.
good.
It's so good. Like
That
let
pump
that girl
handle knee
shine on
strike,
her
yeah.
own.
I mean,
And pay
the
good.
match ended basically with that move, anyways, and that armbar, that submission that Zelina put on was really good too. That was a good spot, but
Hmm.
I feel so bad for Lana. I really do. 3
Three table
weeks.
spots.
She eats the pin and gets a table spot 3 weeks in a row. If
She's got
WWE is not sending a message to her husband, I don't know what it is. I
she's got
agree.
5 more years of this.
Yeah, I agree with Ron though that Peyton Royce should be used on a regular basis too because her and Billy Kay haven't been on TV as much. Gulak being
So
used,
send hey, there you go. Send Billy Kay to SmackDown.
yeah. Um,
Perfect.
Gulak being used for the 24/7 title spots, yeah. Okay, that's enough.
I mean, when he resigned, did he know this was going to happen? Hey, you're resigning, but we're going to put you in a 24/7 title picture.
R-Truth must be jumping up in his shoes. He's all happy. Um, the match between you know Dom and Carlito was really good. The spot with the
Wait, Carlito? Carlito's back?
you know what I mean.
Humberto?
Alberto, yeah, Korea. Sorry, and
Hey,
Seth
I
and
wouldn't mind
Murphy.
seeing Carlito back. I was a fan of him.
Well, I would too. But the other thing also is that Dom has been very innovative with a lot of these moves. That spinning Russian head sweep where he's in basically in a head scissors going into it and then hits that was amazing. Um, but I'm tired of these matches between Seth and the Mysterios and Murphy. But I mean, the biggest thing about the whole thing was, the how amazing of a showcase this was for Alberto in this match just in general, but Murphy hits with the strike and wins. The the promo after is very very necessary to push the story with both of them. But do you, and I was going to ask you this later on, but do you think this could be the way they're going to have Seth kicked off TV, like sign off on TV till Becky has the baby? And they do it right now at Hell in the Cell since she's pretty much maybe, and if the chat can help me, 8 months, going to be 8 months, 9 months soon, in a couple of months, if I'm right.
Yeah, Seth's definitely going to be off TV pretty soon. So I guess Buddy's going to beat the living shit out of Seth at Hell in a Cell. I mean, if you look at the whole like backstory, they've been beating the hell out of each other with kendo sticks, with the Mysterio. So I'm thinking Buddy's going to beat the crap out of Seth, and then boom, he's off TV.
Well, I kind of think that would make more sense. And then Aaliyah just comes out of nowhere and says, I'm going to just be a manager, which for her doing something like that and pushing the envelope, that could be feasible. And it could land to something where, let's say, Charlie Caruso goes to ESPN permanently and puts her in that role. I mean, that would give her something because I believe WWE has some interest in her. So, I mean, it would make sense. But I'm going to skip the Ricochet match and all that stuff. There was not really much in there. It's the same stuff we've gone through for the last couple of weeks with them. But, I mean, this is also after this match is gearing up to what we'll talk to, is you were right about. Believe it or not, half of the picks you had were about almost 100% accurate the last couple of weeks.
I'm smart.
Rollins is asking for an apology. That kind of didn't. That segment went haywire. But I kind of noticed something, and I don't think anybody picked it up. So I want to ask the chat this, since we have a good amount of people in there today. Thank you for all coming. We got the sexiest.
You guys.
You got Barry White in the house.
Yeah, baby.
Doesn't as I'm Irish. I have a red beard, but I'm not as that big as Murphy's. Doesn't he look like Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Oh my God, you're right. And that was my mom's favorite Christmas movie too. So I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, like him grabbing the beard, telling him that Seth's telling him he's the despiteful, he's the Messiah. I mean, come on. The titles, God, that arm spot was deadly, but you already knew what was gonna happen. But the meat on the bone, the mean mate that you already called. If they're gonna tie this right, because this match didn't last that long, it was really good. They better tie this to the hacker. Do you think that they're going to actually connect the dots and finally have them do the hacker angle with Retribution?
I hope that's the direction they're going. I'm glad they redeemed Ali and gave him this spot because we all knew he was the hacker. And if anybody don't know, I called this 2 weeks ago. I said it was going to be either Ali or Keith Lee as the leader of Retribution. So when Ali became the leader last night, I had tears falling, and that was excitement, and that's passion for wrestling. And it feels like WWE did something right. They gave us something that a lot of people didn't see coming. Because even though I called it 2 weeks ago, I still didn't see it coming. And it was perfect setup. And I hope that come next Monday, they say, yeah, I was a hacker. Or I don't know, like make it like beginning of Raw and the hacker appears and Retribution is on the back of the, the computer screens and Ali turned around and said, yeah, it was me the whole time. Now I have Retribution behind me. Like, I think that's how it should go.
It's going to be interesting with Hell in the Cell now that you have all that dynamic with those four. And then you have, I don't remember the names of, Mia's and Mercedes's names on that's for Retribution, but that should be interesting too.
I don't think
But
Mercedes got a name yet.
I think they put him out there. I'm not sure. If the chat could help with us, that'd be great. I I think as much as there was so much going on with Raw, the one thing that got me most intrigued, and I don't know about you, let the big boys fight. Oh my God, 700 pounds of mass sitting in that ring.
Oh boy.
That was good. And then all of a sudden the ref throws it out. Now you're like, come on, let them go. And then all of a sudden they're like, fuck it, I'm gonna kick his ass. Literally just does it. It freaking puts freaking Lee almost through the freaking screens. You know,
Oh
Lee
yeah.
literally puts him through freaking the screens up on the stage, and then they go off. I want this to happen. I would be excited for this. So, like, if the scenario with the draft, I think it could happen is they keep Braun on SmackDown, they switch Lee over, and then let them two go at it with the number one contenders match over their heads, and Lee gets it, and there you go. There's your Roman Lee fight that everybody's dying for a long time. Could
Yeah, because
you
we had that build from Survivor Series when Keith and Roman were going at it. So there's a lot big history right there.
could you see that possibly happen with the draft coming through though?
Absolutely can. It's like Braun's been on Raw for the past few weeks, but it would make it so obvious and dumb to draft him to Raw. Like he's already been on Raw, so what's the point of wasting a draft pick and sitting him there when he's been there? So Keith going to SmackDown would be a good swerve, and they could continue to feud, and eventually Keith can get his match at maybe Royal Rumble against Roman. Who knows? But it's coming. That match is coming.
Yeah, that definitely is that. And if they keep AJ on SmackDown, which it seems like most likely he's either staying SmackDown or going to Raw or whatever, it that would be, like I said on the podcast, would be the next match likely to happen for Roman after Jay. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, including Anakin JMT, who I dubbed the baker of Fightful because all the cookies and stuff like that.
I want
Uh,
some cookies, Joel. You live in Michigan, bro. You can send me some cookies too.
um, literally, it's just interesting to hear his idea, and that's Daniel Bryan. We don't know the status of his contract. We don't know what's going on. If Daniel does happen, that would be great. He did mention in the recording today that it was 6 years ago. But in an article I read about a year ago, and if I can remember it right, that AJ even stated that his best matches when he came to WWE was with Roman. His first series of matches was with Roman. I would love to see that, considering how long it has been.
It's been what, 4 years? That was 2016.
Yeah, it's been a long time. A
I'm off
president,
for that.
a president already went through here. But other than that, I mean, we got a lot of stuff looking forward to. Um, NXT's tomorrow night. That's going to be great. So, what's the one show coming up you're more like heavily invested into?
Definitely can't wait to see the fallout from Takeover tomorrow night. See what kind of changes. Rich Holland, what was up with him attacking Adam Cole? Like, there's it's so much to that story. Like the way Roddy and Bobby Fish were acting, they were overacting to me. Like they already knew Adam Cole got jumped. Because why were they asking Finn what happened? And Finn was just in a match for 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, it didn't make sense.
a lot of times wrestling doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, if you want to hark back on it, because everybody keeps asking about the first show on the Anchor audio side of things, is that what's the one thing you took away from the show?
Um, that there's nothing wrong about two grown men letting their emotions out over women who raised them and who made them the
And I
men
don't
they
want to make you cry. I'm sorry. I'm just being
are.
very honest.
Bro, you listen, I cry every day, every other day, thinking about my mom because I see her pictures all over the house and I dream about her. Like, I think about my mom 24/7. Like the tears are never gonna stop, but it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be with a close friend of mine who lost his mother, and we bonded over that. And it's good that people have listened to our podcast and feel our pain, and that we're not afraid to talk about it. So it,
If you see what Ron just said, we should put area codes in the background, dude. I live in the freaking 978. There's 617 508 413 around here, and if you go up to New Hampshire, it's 603 is one of the ones I know of. It's just yeah.
my mom used to always love when I would rap that song. For some reason, that was the one song she let me cuss because I say I got hoes.
I I told a few people know this is that when my mom and was at the hospice house, I would literally, and I have a horrible voice. If you guys want to know how I sing, there is a video on this channel. If you go further down and dig deep down, this channel has been established since '08, dude. I haven't been doing these shows for a lot longer, but that video is there, seeing me singing the verb pipe. Now, if anybody wants to comment on that, that's fine. I ain't doing it again because I can't sing a lick.
Well, now I gotta go look it up, bro. Thanks.
And if I got into a bet and somebody said Throwback's got to sing this, I'll be like, but I would sing an Irish hymn. It's not a really like predominant Irish hymn. It was, it's called Father Manaka Naka Turaye, and I just sing what I knew, and literally I'd get a reaction from my mom and stuff, and then I walked away singing it, and then I heard because we already talked about all this stuff. So I mean, there's certain things that we do, and we could supply somebody that actually can make their lives better. It's well worth it.
Yeah, I love hearing the feedback because like my aunt listened to it and her husband and some close friends of mine have listened to it and gave me great feedback, and I like that positivity. I've had so much negativity and sadness, you know, all year. I think we all have. It's been a terrible year, but like factor in I lost my cousin and two cousins this year, my dad's heart attack and losing my mom, like I needed some positivity and uplifting, and doing this, man, it helps so much, bro.
It's funny how one person can change your life completely, but one person that has, how am I going to put this, that has so much heart and soul and immense power of doing one good deed can change lives.
Hmm.
And SRS did that. And let's be honest, we even discussed this on the round table. And I'm sorry, Sean, we put you on the spot for that.
Love you, bro.
But it's true. Without the connection with Sean, a lot of us wouldn't have been met each other. And what one person can do can change lives. Now, I'm hoping what we talked about can change other people's perceptions of going through loss. People
Hmm.
who like what Sean was talking, like what grappling with grief is doing. They're doing great work. Um, Me talking about cancer, epilepsy, you know, stuff from what I've gone through. I have, and very few people know about. Well, very large amount of people, but very people have seen it. Is because it's faded. I have a scar going across from my head from a metal trash can. So, people who've gotten severely hurt from, being hit, being beaten up and stuff, I get all that stuff. But it takes a person like you who's a fighter who's gone through hell and back to make other people realize that, hey, life can be better, but also the person who's going through that hell will be better.
Yeah.
So, and I'm grateful for having you as a friend. Like I said, I think and I hopefully what I said to you rang some heads as saying, hey, if you need, somebody to talk to, I'm probably, and I don't know what you were thinking when I my message. I'm like, hey, I lost my mom. Da da da. I understand what you're going through. There were probably millions of people on there, but there probably when one person that you could be like, wait a minute, he's publicly said this. I can understand it. I now know how he feels. And it's very hard to do that. Like I told you, go get that jersey, dude. Get your camera, get your jersey. We'll rock the both on for Memorial jerseys on. We'll have a blast.
Yeah, definitely, bro. While we're thinking real quick, if my aunt is still listening, she was my mom's best friend since they were like kids, and she's been like my second mom. She's been my mom since my mom passed, and she's been my rock. Like she's been right by my side and giving me guidance that I needed. Because without her, I don't know where I'd be right now. And because of her, I have this beautiful home that I'm fixing up and making it mine. And she gives me that confidence to keep moving forward and keep making my mom proud. But at the same time, I want to keep making my aunt proud. So, Auntie Yvette, if you're listening, I am blessed to have you. Thank you so much for everything. You are my heart. Your family is my family. Like, I got a brother now. So, thank you for everything. And I'm lost without you, and I'm glad I have you.
I sentiment those things because you're a good dude. But I tell everybody around me, I tell Crystal about it. How certain things she does has gotten me through it. I've told my buddy Roddy about it. His wife Michelle, who's my two close best friends. I joke with them. I'm like, when I don't have a nerve, they're my backbone. Like literally, they're like Crystal. They will put me in my spot real quick, and I understand that. And my family and people like Melissa, who lives in North Carolina, who's been a friend with me since I was a kid. You
Mm,
know, she's like a sister to me. Over 30 years of friendship, and but the one person that's been with me throughout this whole journey, and you could contest that with certain people, is my sister lives with me, and we look at each other every day and thinking, wow, so much has changed. We found out today that they are putting a back porch in the old house, and the guy who sold it, we sold it to, says, "Hey, do you want to come by?" And I don't have the courage to go in that house. It's not the same.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But with the people we have around, and I'm trying not to get you going, but the people who we have around, like that round table was a great way of expression. The stories you got from Rob were pure and just. The stories from Hannah Moore, it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And if she's listening, I really appreciate what you've done. And if not, people just tweet them and just let them listen to us, because you got two guys, telling the people how much grateful of this community has pushed everything through.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the same spot I was before your mom passing, or were you in the same spot afterwards? With me, like I said, and I talked to you about how I found Fightful. I saw that I spoke with Sean last week. I was literally down so bad that I just locked myself in the room, and then I just stumbled upon all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just not we're not going to rehash all the Fightful conversations from the roundtable, but did this make you a lot better now, just coming on podcast talking about it instead of tweeting it, having people hear your story rather than just putting it out there and saying, yep, this is it, this is how I am, this is it.
It's definitely something different, and it's helped me so much, bro. It's helped me so much. And like you said, bro, if we didn't have Fightful, if Sean wasn't the great dude he was, like I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now.
Yeah.
Who knows who knows what I'd be doing? Probably just be watching Impact, but like this helps, man. It's therapeutic. It's healing. I got incense lit. Like just, it's like I'm on a date with myself. Like it like
I'm gonna go this for a throwback movie. You're I'm your Woody Harrelson to what's his name? The guy who played Blade.
a Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. Like literally, I'm like a white man can't jump. I'm literally like you're Woody Harrelson. But and that's why I think people connect with you and me, because when we do all the audio stuff, they feel like, hey, we want to know more and get everything out. He's like, Joel's like, get a second monitor. Speaking of somebody
No,
who's got
wait,
a
hold
lot of
on.
monitors.
I am watching Impact on my 55-inch though, and I got the podcast on my laptop.
Yeah, I have the 65-inch sitting there, but it emits so much light right now, and the way my living room is now set up, it's ridiculous. Because obviously, when you watch this, you see blinds and stuff. My sister and my girlfriend decided to switch the furniture into a different area and stuff, and there's a whole other story right there. Um, but honestly, it's amazing to see how many people are gone. I mean, we have people like Ron who donated a lot of money from off his Amazon stuff to Sean, and that's starting to pile in. We have people like staples, which pillars in the community, where it's like Steven Jensen, you, Hannah, a lot of good humble people, Rob, Alex, the major people that I saw in there, and Denise, and mainly Jeremy. It's been an interesting thing, and for me, as an outsider looking in, if you
Mhm.
told me a year ago that I'd have my own show, that I'd have a podcast on Spotify that is being recorded from somewhere, and I would be on one of my favorite podcast shows, I would have told you we're nuts. I would have told you we're crazy, and I would have had a freaking car bomb sitting next to me and downing that car bomb real quick. But all of this has happened for a reason. You're here for a reason, and I just want to say, dude, I got nothing but love for you, and I appreciate it.
Love you too, man. Thank you for everything, bro.
Well, tell them where they can find you, because we did get wild, we get a little bit sobbish, and we had a blast like we always do.
Dude, it's over already. I got another hour in me. But yeah, guys, follow me on Twitter at It's Wild Boy. Don't follow me on Instagram because I won't follow you back.
And listen to his voice on Wicked Crazy Pinfalls on all podcast platforms. He has officially signed a 10-year contract for $1 to be on the show. Well, I have to play it off because Rob was talking about how he needs to be on a contract. So, I mean, why not just play off of that for a little bit? But no, WildBoy has an open invitation anytime he hits me up and it says, "Hey, dude, I want to be on I want to be on the podcast. Hey, I want to be on YouTube." It's the same way with Rob, and I'm hoping one day, and this is a big dream, is to have 3 people on there on the podcast with Jeremy. Now picture this triangle of hopefulness, and this is a long shot triangle. 2 of
Okay.
them maybe. The third one is just shot in the dark, and I hope she listens. Denise, you're amazing, and it would be Jeremy, Sean, and Denise
Ooh,
on a
I'd
Saturday
listen to that all
doing
day.
and just listening and just talking about an hour's worth of wrestling, mini match memories, stuff like that. That
Kanye West versus Taylor Swift.
don't egg people on. But I'm hoping that could happen at some point. I am definitely gonna put this out there if they are watching. I know Steven Jensen said he'd be down, but Jesse, I would love to have you on a roundtable with Steven, with another person of your choosing, and we can have some fun coming up. Now, I have 2 people for November. It'll be Christmas. Might as well. So hopefully we can do something. I want this show to be more for people to come in and have fun and just be silly and joking and talk about wrestling, talk about their lives, talk about everything, just like you do with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
But find this dude because he wilds out like crazy on the freaking audio podcast. Oh my god. uh, hit him up, like he says. It's at a Wild Boy, on Twitter. Hit
I'm
him,
almost at 7,000 followers, guys. Help me out.
dude. I'm not even touching that. Oh yeah, let's get this channel up to 200. I'm literally 11 away, so like if we could do
See that?
that, that'd be great. But I can honestly say that and I'm gonna put this invitation out for you now, is that the week of the pay-per-view, I would love to have you record with me, and we'll talk strictly about predictions for the pay-per-view. It'll be a special edition on the audio side, released on a specific day, but I think we'd have a blast making fun of the whole card.
Hell yeah, bro. I am down. Come on, bro.
um, Other than
Abs-
that, we got all the time in the world to have some fun. Um, at the end, just do a good deed, pay it forward. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. We have at around noon, between noon and 1, the live Crazy Pinfalls draft, the first ever with Rob Wilkins. He will be helping out. It'll be me and him drafting between both brands. I don't know which one I'll get. I pray to God it's Smackdown. If we had 3 people, I would have asked Hannah, because Hannah's the biggest NXT fan I know of and you know of. We've already heard that. Go check out, listen to your boy tomorrow. You got the Wednesday Night Wars, Friday Smackdown review. You got this podcast with Anakin JMT at noon, and we talk about him baking cookies, talk about shirts, talk about his favorite match of the match memories. He is trying to set up to record with me. Just so much stuff we talk about, and the format of this show has evolved over the last few months and stuff, and it's starting to shape up. And if you've noticed this, DK, it's lining up with the audio side a little bit more and more every week now. You notice that like towards the tail end, it's more about people's lives and the effect of wrestling, and also talking about the reviews and stuff minus the match memories. I've noticed that. I was listening to it the other day, and I'm like, wow, I'm putting everything in one thing, and it's now mirroring both shows, which is great.
Yeah.
But in the description below, go to the Facebook group, Two Sisters One Machine. They do phenomenal work. They will hit you guys. If you hit them up, they will literally take your orders in. They'll do special stuff. And I tweeted this out. And by the way, this ain't my merch. This ain't me selling merch. This was a gift from love, and I'll appreciate this for the rest of my life. If I can get it up right. There's your first ever Wicked Crazy Pinfalls t-shirt. And the only one. But that's the quality of stuff they do. It's amazing work. They do candles. They did some glass etching, stuff like that. I mean, the work Crystal and Kelly do is amazing. So definitely go in there. With Christmas going on, and especially with COVID, it's a good alternative to buy stuff from them, because of the fact that you'd go in and get like a candle holder that could be $40, and you never know what price they would sell it. But they do all this. Crystal does this majority by hand, and it's really something to do to support them. Just do a good deed, pay it forward. Throwback 27. It's the handle on this. Wicked Crazy Pinfalls every Saturday at noon, and then here on there also. And hit the Twitter up 978. It's Throwback 978. This last week's been crazy. It's been wilding out with Wild Boy tonight. Perfect way to end Tuesday to Tuesday spread. Do a good deed, pay it forward. Got nothing but love for y'all. And then just enjoy life, because you got to live it to the fullest.